For some time now, 4K TVs have been the consumer level of technology, meaning that their prices aren't super high, but they're still really great quality TVs, and it's kind of just what everybody's buying nowadays. And I have wanted to upgrade my TV for quite some time, but I just never got around to doing it, and we just didn't save up enough money, and so we were dealing with my 1080p 42-inch Chromecast TV, and that was it, right? Which was a great TV. Don't get me wrong. It was an awesome TV. But I got a bigger house, I got a better job, and it's kind of time to upgrade the TV, you know? That's what happens, you know? Especially as a dad, you know? You're like, you want a big TV, right? And I wanted my big TV. So I finally decided to upgrade my TV, and we decided to go with the Vizio M Series Quantum 65. This is their 65-inch TV that's kind of the number one that's going on right now. So, and it's really great. We love it, okay? And it's super awesome. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take you through all of the things I love about it and all the things I don't love about it. And then maybe you'll decide that this is the right TV for you, or maybe you won't. Either way, I just wanted to go over these things. So let's go through some pros and cons. The first pro that I really love about this TV is the color, okay? Not only do you have like super bright, vivid colors, right? Which is something that like I could not deal with in other TVs, right? Is that I would go and I'd be shopping for a TV, and some TVs they weren't that bright, right? And maybe they were like trying to save money, you know, like not having it pull a lot of energy, so they had it dimmer on display. Whatever, it just wasn't that bright. The colors weren't super vivid, and I love the bright, vivid colors of this TV, right? It's something, I mean, it's part of their advertising is the quantum color, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know what's going on in there, but I know that they've got a lot of really cool things happening in this TV, and it's just cool. It's awesome to be able to like put a show on for my kid during the day, and it like show up all the colors, right? And the colors look bright and vivid during the day when we have the windows open and there's light shining in from both sides. Like the colors still look great, and I love that about this TV. They have other color profiles to when I'm watching TV with my wife. At the end of the day, the kids are in bed, and we're just like flipping through TV and stuff like that. We have a calibrated dark setting that we like to use, and it is just the colors for late at night when there are no other lights on in the house. It's really awesome. So I really love the bright, vivid colors, and also the color profiles that match depending on when and where we're watching TV. It's just the colors on this thing are really awesome. Okay. The next thing that I really love about this TV is the resolution. Now, I know you might be like, well, it's a 4K TV. It's got 4K resolution. And like, although I agree with that, like I feel like there are some 4Ks that are better than other 4Ks, and this is the better end of the 4K. I feel like it's a good 4K, you know, and I don't feel like all 4K TVs are like that. So we lucked out on that one. Really, really like it. Of course, it's a step up from the 1080p that we were using before, but definitely really, really like the resolution on this one. Number 3 is compatibility. Now, what I mean by this is just like the functionality of the TV. Before we bought this TV, we bought a 65-inch TCL Series 4 4K TV, and that one was great. Like it was a really good TV, don't get me wrong. But it had some things that we didn't like about it. The screen just seemed super fragile. It seemed kind of just like a poor quality build. The sound wasn't great on it. It wasn't a great TV overall. So we decided to take that one back, and we bought the Vizio. And we upgraded from just a Roku TV to a smart TV with AirPlay, Google Assistant, Alexa, and other smart home devices that you can pair it with, which is so great. Like we actually use those features a lot, right? So not only do we have all of the channels that we like to watch, and you know, we can also look at YouTube and whatever, but we also are able to, like, when we're on our phones, right? My wife and I both have iPhones. We can just like swipe up AirPlay, and whatever is going on our phone can go on the TV. And that's actually been really convenient for a number of things, actually. But then also, because it works with Google Assistant, it has Chromecast built into it. So when our friends are over and they want to cast something from their Android phones, they can totally do that as well. And so we really like the compatibility that no matter what device we're using, we can have it play on the TV, and that's really awesome. Now, we don't use any smart home speakers or any hubs or anything like that. But we do have our iPhones and their other devices, and so it's really nice to be able to use those. So the compatibility is a big seller for me. The next thing was the lack of bezels, okay? And I know that bezels are kind of becoming a thing of the past. We get thinner and thinner bezels with every generation of technology, but I really appreciate that. Like our other TV, our 42-inch 1080p TV, it wasn't bad, right? And the bezels on it weren't huge, so it was a good TV, especially for that generation of TVs. But this generation, even more so. Like it's thin bezels, which means that almost everything that you're looking at with the TV is the screen, and I love that about this TV is the lack of bezels. Last thing is price for size. So I could have gone anywhere, right? Like I didn't have a budget for $5,500 TVs or $7,000 TVs, but those do exist, right? And I don't know if I'll ever be that kind of guy that just spends like super large amounts of money on that kind of thing. But I also knew I didn't want to just like cheap out and get like a smaller TV and one that's 1080p, or like I knew I wanted a 4K TV, and this one actually surprised me on price. More and more you're seeing TVs in the $500 to $600 range, $400 to $600 range. And so we actually got this one for $587 after tax. So all in, it was $587, and that was an awesome deal, right? Okay, now let's talk about the cons, because there are some drawbacks to buying a $600 TV as opposed to a $6,000 TV. And the first one is dimming zones. This is the one thing that I really, really wanted in an OLED TV, but I wasn't willing to swing the extra $600 to get it in an OLED TV. Okay, the way OLED TVs work is that each individual pixel is a light, which means that there are billions of lights in every TV. What this allows you to do is get true blacks, right? So when you have something black on the screen, the light just turns off, okay? That's not how LCD TVs work, like the Vizio one that I have. Okay, the way the Vizio TV works and other LCD TVs work is that you have backlights, right? In this case, there are 12 backlights, there are 12 dimming zones, right? So there are 6 on one half of the TV, 6 on the other half of the TV, right? And these will light up sections of the TV. So even if you're showing black, like the crystals, the LCD crystals inside the TV are showing black, if that dimming zone is lit up at all, it shows kind of gray, right? So you need an entire dimming zone to be black in order for the dimming zone to turn off entirely, right? And so this is kind of a bummer. The dimming zones, although there are 12 of them, they're kind of obvious where they're located. Like I can see like when we're on like waiting for Hulu to turn on, or we're waiting for YouTube, or we're waiting for Disney Plus, and you have the like black screen with the little circle that's spinning, it will light up 4 different dimming zones right in the center of the screen, right? Because we got 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down on either side, right? And so right in the middle will light up 4 different dimming zones, and you can see them flash on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And that's kind of annoying. Now, it's not that big of a deal once a show is actually going, because most of the time a screen is not entirely black, or it's not even close to being entirely black, which means that you can't really tell because all of the dimming zones are on all the time. So it doesn't bother me that much once we actually get watching, but it is kind of a bummer that you can see the dimming zones when you're waiting for things to load. The second con is sound. Just like the TCL TV that we purchased before, the sound's not great. It's kind of a little boxy. It's not what you'd expect. It's not what you'd hope from a $600 TV, but it's not awful, right? So like, you could get by with it if you wanted. We're using a Vizio soundbar as well, which I'll do a review of. I don't know if I'll ever be able to go back to just TV sound. That's how much we like the soundbar. So that's kind of a bummer, you know, that in addition to buying the TV, to really get a great experience, you also have to buy a soundbar. So that kind of makes the price go up a little bit. But I think it's worth it. The next con is the onboard processor, the actual computer that does the work. Now, you would think that if we're doing a 4K TV, you'd have a pretty powerful processor inside that TV. But for some reason, that's not the case. It's a little bit laggy, so you'll be pushing buttons on the remote, and it'll lag just ever so slightly. It'll be a little bit slow to load things. It's not a very snappy experience. This is something that the TCL TV did better than the M series of Vizio, is that it had a better processor, right? The Roku processor, the Roku controller that was in there was just better. And it's kind of a bummer that in this case it's not. Number 4, smudges easily. Okay, I have this toddler who is vicious on TVs. I don't get it. He'll go up and he'll just start touching things, and he'll wipe his hand on it. And it's like, what are you doing? Why do you want to? It's not like he's trying to touch something in the TV, right? I would understand that. He's he's like watching something on this end of the TV, and it's just like wiping his hand down the TV, and I'm like, what are you doing? Right? So it smudges pretty easily. That's kind of a bummer. I imagine it would be that way with any TV. So it's more of a toddler problem than a TV problem, but those smudges are pretty visible. All right, that's it. That was my review of the M Series Quantum 65 TV by Vizio. Would I recommend this TV? Yeah, I would recommend this TV. It was less than $600. It's a good TV. I would totally recommend this TV. It's a big one. It works. It's low profile. It's not that heavy. I was able to like flip it over and put the legs on and everything like that all by myself. It wasn't a big deal. So I would totally recommend this TV. Is it the best? No, it's not the best. Okay, but for $600, you got some pretty awesome features. You've got a great picture. You've got cool color profiles. You've got great connectivity. It's great. I like it a lot. So I would totally recommend this TV to anybody that's in the market for a 65-inch 40K TV, but they don't want to break the bank because they got kids to feed. Thank you.